Good morning, everyone. My name is Chidi George Onike. I'm happy to be here this morning to show you this presentation on what MMM really is. Alright, and I'm actually one of the participants of the MMM Nigeria Guidance School 40. I'm in the 40th batch. So we're going to get right to it. Okay. The first slide that I have here has this question on what is MMM? Well, the first point says Mavrodi Mondial Movement. That's the meaning of MMM. And the next point says it is a social financial network. Right? The next one says MMM is the key to achieving financial freedom. Right? And we have the next one, which talks about the fact that it operates on the principle of gratitude and benevolence. Then we have the next point that says it's a community of like-minded people helping one another. Then we have the last one here, which says it's not a business enterprise. So it's not a business enterprise. Okay? So we're going to move right on to the next slide that has the question on it. How does it work? So really, how does MMM work? I have the first point, which has the provide help, get help cycle on it. And this pretty much sums up how MMM works. For you to get help, you need to provide help first. And whenever you want to get help the next time, you need to provide help again. And it goes on like that in cycle. And we have the next point, which says there is no central account where money is deposited. And so MMM operates on a peer-to-peer platform basis. Okay? And then we have here, it says MMM operates on the same pyramid system as banks, pension funds, and insurance companies. Alright? And then we move on to the next slide. And this next slide has the question on it. It says, what are the benefits of MMM? The first point here talks about the 30% reward on original donation amount. Okay, so you get a 30% reward on any amount that is used to provide help. And on top of that, you also get 10% referral bonus. That means that whoever comes to know MMM through you qualifies you to get a 10% bonus on the amount the individual uses to provide help. And then we'll move on to the next slide that talks about the registration bonus for first timers. They get a bonus for signing on with MMM. Then the next point talks about additional guidance benefits. Alright, this talks about the managers of MMA and the extra bonuses that they get to enjoy for being guiders. That's one of the benefits. Alright, and then move on to the last one. It talks about the free training course for guiders. This point is really important as the training is free and they impact a lot of knowledge during this training period. And we're going to move on to the next slide. And this slide talks about the rules. MMM has got rules too, and these are some of them. The first one talks about the fact that you only participate with spare money. Right? The second point here talks about the fact that the donations are non-repayable. Once you do it, that's it. And then the next point talks about the fact that there are no multiple accounts. You can only have a single account with MMM. And then we move on to the next point, which talks about the fact that we need to be honest and kind to each other in the community. Right? Then we move on to the next point, which talks about sharing of ideas and views with each other in the community also. And then the last point talks about the moral obligation of the members to each other. Okay. Then we move on to the next slide. This slide talks about the goals of MMM. And we have the first point here, it says financial freedom. Alright, you get to be independent and free. And then we have the second point that talks about better community. That's one of the goals of MMM. And the third point here talks about global happiness. Participating, you get to be happy all the time. And then we have the last point here that talks about equality and fairness in the social structure. Alright? And that's that about the ideology behind MMM. And I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for participating in this presentation.